Welcome to the Transmissions B++ Team Extravaganza, the team that will keep doing specials to ensure our everlasting legacy. I am your host, Snazzy Mike, and I am joined by the still amazing and mostly spectacular Transmissions B++ team, the illustrious Dr. Pants, teacher of all things Transformers everywhere.
I do know some things, and I am a doctor technically. Hello, everyone.
And still blasting out to all the airwaves, Brandon Ouellette.
Hello. How you doing?
Brandon, we have not seen you in quite a while. The last time we talked with you is when you did the Hate Plague one shot with us.
That's right. Yeah, I'm super stoked to be doing some transmission stuff with you guys. I love the RPG stuff, but I'm super excited to be talking shop about Transformers stuff with you guys. So I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. And this is the first, this is gonna be the first time you're on one of the main shows. We had an unexpected cancellation today. So Brandon, thanks a lot for jumping in kind of last minute for this. And if I remember right, you'll actually be joining us for the media show where we're gonna be talking about some board games in the next couple of days. So
yes, sir.
Yeah. Absolutely thrilled to have you here. And of course, Scott, is always a pleasure to talk to you again.
Always a pleasure to be here with you, Mike. I always look forward to these.
Say it again, but a little bit sexier this time.
Ooh.
Oh, it's always nice to be here with you, Mike.
Wow. Maybe I should go. I also have to last minute. Here I go. Goodbye. I'll leave you.
Oh, it's gotten too awkward.
You can't leave. You know why? Because you are part of the gray shirt cult we got going on here.
This is weird. There was no memo. There was no memo about this.
For those of you who are only listening to the audio version, we are all wearing the same toned gray shirt.
Mine is technically green. You just can't tell on camera.
Yeah, we can't. Looks like we're in a cult over here.
Yeah.
Oh, we are. It's called Transformers collecting.
There you go. You can never leave.
I kind of want to just grow a beard now, so that we're all like the same look.
There you go. Do it.
Oh man. Okay. Well, with that creepy intro out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about what we were going to talk about today. So today we are going to talk about, actually, you know what? Today we're going to have our legacy retrospective. The B+ team, and you'll note that we are the B++ team right now because of Brandon. The B+ team, I think about 2 years ago, did its War for Cybertron retrospective. We talked about the whole line, our thoughts on it, our impressions. I gushed about weaponizers and armorizers, and yeah, I just loved it. I'm going to do the same thing today, but we're going to have much different opinions coming around on this one. And if I read the pre-show right, it's going to get a little spicy.
Yeah. Meatball.
Okay, let's just go ahead and we'll keep this kind of a free-form discussion. There's a couple of topics that I want to hit, but I think what I'll do is let's talk about the core class stuff first, and maybe kind of take it in order of size. So core class was kind of an interesting thing this year, or not just this year, but these last couple of years. Fuck, when did Legacy start? It was started in 2023, if I remember right.
Legacy first wave was 2022, but it was revealed in 2021 at Hasbro PulseCon.
Okay,
gotcha. So core class did a couple of really cool things in this trilogy that I really liked. One was the Dinobot Combiner, which I thought was really cool. But the thing that I really loved about this were the core class pretenders, the Skullgrin, was it Bomb Shock? No, not Skullgrin.
Bomb Shock.
Hold on, It was Bomb Burst and Iguanus.
Yes, Skullgrin was the deluxe that they did.
And don't forget Metal Hawk. Metal Hawk is also a pretender.
Mm-hmm.
And
But
was a
he
Voyager.
was not core class.
No, he was a Voyager. So Skullgrin and Metal Hawk are out of this discussion, but
Gotcha. Yeah. For the first wave 3 was Bomb Burst, wave 1 was Iguanus.
Yeah.
So I really, really love what they did. Now, first off, the idea of a pretender, like a full-on pretender shell transformer in 2023 or 2022 is a little ridiculous. It really was a product of its time. And okay, it was interesting, but I really like the way they updated and they kind of did that with these figures. I got Iguanus and I got Bomb Burst. I love them both. I love that they kept the transforming vehicle mode, but they kind of echoed that shape from the Pretender shell and echoed that design aesthetic. I really loved that, and I really wish they continued that because Skullgrin just didn't hit me the same way. Metal Hawk just didn't hit me the same way.
I agree with like a quarter of you on this.
We're starting off strong.
Iguanus is really, really cool, and I love Iguanus. Bomb Burst sucks. Garbage figure. Hated it. Hate that it's in my collection. But it's the only Bomb Burst I got, so he's got to be there because... And Mike, you're going to find out. I love the Pretenders. The Pretenders were a huge part of my childhood, so I will snag any Pretender that Hasbro re-releases. I also love Skullgrin and Metal Hawk. Those figures were so much better than Bomb Burst was. But matter of opinion, because I actually know Skullgrin was not well loved by the community. I liked it a lot, but that's me.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah. I'm sort of in a sort of like a middle ground between you two, I think. 2020, 2021 was actually when I started getting back into collecting Transformers during the pandemic.
Interesting.
And
so Legacy is a year like for your first
Legacy
full line
actually
here.
was sort of my Legacy in the end of like the Siege War for Cybertron sort of like dealy was coming out as I was sort of getting into collecting. So it was a weird introduction, and I think my first figure I got when I started collecting again was the Siege Optimus. But then I picked up Iguanus when I was like popping around doing errands in a Walmart, and I saw him. I was like, that is so weird looking. Like I had no real knowledge of Pretenders at the time. And I saw him. I was like, that's kind of weird. And then I remember I went home and I saw a Chris McFeely video. It was Obscure Characters Month. And he did a video about Iguanus. I was like, that's the guy that I saw in the store. And I watched the video and I thought it was great. And so I picked him up, and he was one of my first like new characters that I added to my collection. And I really liked the way he turned into a motorcycle. Like I thought the transformation was really cool. I liked the way that his tail became like the back of like the seat. I really enjoyed all that. His weapon is dumb. I wish they had found a better way to include some sort of sense of handlebars on there. But then like researching the Pretenders I thought was cool. And like Mike said, I think that the way that they kept like their Pretender shell as their robot mode was a great way to sort of introduce that because it helps make them distinct. So I'm a fan.
Nice. I wish they continued it. I will fight you, Scott, on Bomb Burst.
Listen, if you like it, that's great for you, because I know there's also... I have, to throw back to another time, I am not a fan of Thrilling 30 Springer, and I don't understand the love that figure gets.
Dare you?
I know, okay. And people are going to be listening to this like, this guy's got no taste, and maybe that's true. But, Mike, I did want to bring up one other thing you mentioned in the core class stuff, and that was the Dinobots, because it was weird. It was weird, because, like, we already had a Volcanicus back in Power of the Primes, and this time they changed it up. They added in a new member, and they made Grimlock a leg.
That
and it's like
insulting.
But there's a reason. Because it wasn't meant to be Volcanicus. It was always meant to be Dino King.
Nice.
This was the intended version of that. Because and you mentioned the show notes that like maybe it was supposed to be Monstructor, and it could have been because same thing. It was Monstructor
Right.
in the U.S. It was Dino King in Japan. But ever since they announced that Volcanicus, I looked at it and I'm like, that's Dino King. You can't fool me, Hasbro. You're just getting the Dinobots out first because people love Dinobots.
That's true.
So they released the Dino King as a gift set, right? Not individually.
Yes, right.
Okay.
Which
It
fantastic
was
because I don't want to hunt individual figures.
that's fair. But Dino King did Dino King come with any like Pretender shells or any kind of stuff like that?
Nope. Because there you go. There's another core class Pretender set. No, there were no
Yeah.
Pretender shells. They just transformed into their little Dino dudes, and that was it.
Okay. Yeah, it was. I will say it was an interesting thing. I was watching the whole like Dinobot things that come out and everything, and it's like, okay, cool. I had picked up the Dinobots back in Power of the Primes, and I enjoy them for what they are. The Volcanicus, like the combined form, looks a little janky, but I think you could say that's true for most of the combiners, at least without an upgrade kit.
I think
But
Volcanicus suffers a lot more than some of them though, because he looks weirdly proportioned. Like there's a ropiness to like the shoulders that I don't like.
yeah,
But
yeah. But I thought it was an interesting way of getting out like a Monstructor or a Dino King figure. It was a kind of a neat set to it. I didn't pick
surprising
it up.
amount of
My
I was gonna say surprising amount of victory love in Legacy.
yeah.
Transformers victory.
I think if I was going to like get a Dino King though, I would want something at least on par with like a Victory Saber figure or something like that. But who knows?
It's weird because I mean Dino King was always made of like Micromasters
Yeah.
as a toy, but then in the animation
Unfortunate.
like he's Victory Saber size, so like what do you do? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not much you can do about it, but I mean I'm glad they at least put it out there. And Hasbro, if you're listening, more Pretenders, please. Core class size. I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
You know what? I'm just going to say more Pretenders in general. I don't care what size they are. Just give me more Pretenders. Acknowledge it. Acknowledge that era, please. Don't just make Metal Hawk. Cloudburst, Landmine, Wave Rider, all the Autobots. Give them to me.
Yeah. All right, cool. All right, let's get into the next thing that I wanted to talk about with all of you guys. The weaponizers, armorizers, the whole Izers thing that we did. I'm gonna say I loved it because I fucking love all of this stuff. Back like the first ones that came out, like the six gun for like Metroplex back in Siege, loved it. Cog, Fast Track, Brunt, all that, loved it, love them all. And this trilogy continued that with two of the Izers, the Junkion figures. Beautiful way of dealing with the Junkion figure, and not these aren't just parts formers either. They actually will. Like they actually are capable of transforming.
That was my biggest complaint in the Siege with the Izers. I wanted them to be able to transform without parts forming. I mean, they were great, and I loved them too, Mike. But that was my biggest complaint, and the Junkions nail it.
Yep. With the ones in Siege, I didn't mind it at all because the characters they were homaging really were parts formers already. But with the Junkions, it does make sense. Like as being an actual character in their own right, they shouldn't have to split apart to transform. And like you can break them apart. You can mix and match them. It's like the next best thing to Legos that Transformers has. So amazing.
Well, especially with like because it works in lore, right? That the fact that like Junkions sort of like are put together with like odds and ends, and that they can like fall apart and put themselves back together again. Like so, even on like that level, it made sense. But then, like you said, the fact that they don't have to come apart to transform, I think is what made them appealing to me. Because like to like have them come apart, like I understand the appeal of a toy that you take it apart and put it back together again, and how you reconfigure that is makes a new toy. But for Transformers, I love the puzzle of take this thing and reconfigure it in a way to make it the new thing without it coming apart. And so the fact that they could do both awesome, and that they were so fun to mix and match to make into a new thing. Made the combiners that people made on the internet so creative, so awesome. And so I got all three of them. I even got I have them right here. My Trash Master. I got a friend of mine to 3D print the forks.
Oh, nice.
Oh, no way. That's awesome.
The one bad thing about them, obviously, is that as you transform, the part that can come off will. But like something that bothered me, that it didn't have like the armature sections that would like pick up a dumpster when they're going to like collect trash. So I found the files online and got a friend from work to 3D print them for me. And if I'm careful, I can keep them on during the whole transformation. But yeah, I love all these guys. I've got Trash Master, Crash Bar, and Scrap Hook here. They're some of my favorites to mess with.
And those are the three main ones that they well, also the Trash Master too was a Voyager sized.
Yeah, he was a big boy.
like weaponizer.
Yeah. He's often like the center part of whatever combiner you were making, unless you were just using like I often found when I was like configuring them that either like he is the center and everyone goes on to him. He's like their Roadmaster,
Motor Master.
Motor Master, thank you. And then other than that, like, or you would put his torso away and apply all of his parts to make everyone taller.
I unfortunately never saw Axle Grease, who was kind of the remold of Scrap Hook.
Yeah.
Is that what it was? Yeah, I never saw Axle Grease, so I never got a chance to get that one. I did get the repaint of Scrap Hook that was is it Toyline?
The green
RID
the green
figure
one for the RID. Yeah.
Yeah. Because hell yeah, RID 2001.
Why not?
Right.
Yeah, that show was so fun.
I found. I'm pretty certain I found the Scrap Hook and Crash Bar. I found that same Toyline repaint, and the repaint they did of Crash Bar of the motorcycle. I did not find the repaint that they did of Scrap Hook though, like the dark purple car or whatever it was.
Yeah, that was Axle Grease. But
okay.
Was
yeah,
it
that one.
was it I think the motorcycle was the one in the Star Raiders, and that was Road Pig? Something like that?
Road Pig, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was a G2 figure. That was based on a laser cycle. Which also really cool. Love that they did stuff like that. They pulled from G2, and actually, like, honestly, we're going to talk a lot about Legacy, and Legacy pulled from a lot of my childhood, because I was born in 86, so late G1, G2, Beast Wars, that is my safe space when it comes to Transformers and where I feel happiest. And, like, yeah, it just...
As you were born, Optimus Prime died. These were, like,
two
simultaneous events.
When did the movie come out? In April? He like died 2 months after I was born.
That's right. You did this.
It's my fault. It's my fault.
There were too many legends on Earth, and they were like, they got to make it.
Wow.
But it is cool that like G2 surprisingly got a lot of love and over the course of Legacy, which is great, just because it is sort of this weird liminal space in Transformers where it's like the show is just G1 with CG transitions, but then the toys are like all being rebranded and recolored in interesting ways.
Yeah.
But the thing is G2 also had a lot of like original figures, like the laser rods, I think they were called, and then there were the ones that sprayed water. There were the ones that had the propellers that fired, and there were the random jets and stuff. And the fact that they did a couple of repaints to be some of those figures, because we got the Road Pig laser cycle, and they did another laser cycle that I think was supposed to be Jazz. They repainted the.
Oh, I think I forget the name.
I think they just called it Jazz Laser Cycle or G2 Jazz or something. But that was a repaint of Road Rocket, who was another G2 figure who showed up in Legacy, and that was a remold of the Prime RC figure. I think, from Legacy,
from the first because Road Rocket, did he come out in Evolution, or was he in just like a
that was in the Velocitron? That was in the Velocitron set.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting that you bring up Prime RC because it's interesting because my experience sort of getting into collecting, looking at the Legacy line that I saw, because RC and Bulkhead were some of the first Legacy figures that I saw. And I love Transformers Prime. And I thought it was great. I remember watching it as it was coming out. And when I saw those, my interpretation of what Legacy was bringing along, because we also got Knockout down the road, and then eventually, was it not Jetfire, but
Skyquake.
Skyquake.
They did Skyquake and Dreadwind.
Yes.
Or Dreadwing.
And so my interpretation was that, like, oh, we're going to take all these characters from across like Transformers media and present them as if they were G1 characters by giving them a sort of more like G1ified look, which was controversial at the time. Like a lot of people, you know, I didn't really care for like how the Legacy RC, like her, like using her wheels for a weapon instead of making them part of her robot mode. Then like the weird Energon weapons on them, it felt like too fiddly for me. But I liked the way they did Bulkhead, like, and it's like taking like the main front of the truck, making it his torso, felt appropriately G1, but he was unmistakably Bulkhead. Like the head sculpt was good. Like they didn't change it too much to make it look too G1, but I rather liked that, and I thought it was a creative way to sort of like unite these things. And then Knockout was similar, but then at a certain point it stopped being that and just became like, let's just accurately recreate these characters from their show. I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are on that sort of phenomenon, whether that, like, if you guys know if like that was always the plan, or was there a change at some point, or what?
I honestly, I think the plan was to G1ify things, and there was a backlash after Bulkhead and RC and Knockout came out, because, I mean, I agree with you. I think the Bulkhead works really well. I think that figure kind of kills it, but the design of Prime RC and Prime Knockout did not carry over to G1, and I know the Knockout from Legacy was based on the 86 Jazz mold, I believe.
Well, yeah, because his torso, the way like the front of the car sort of like sticks out front, is very similar.
And it's and that's not a bad figure, but it's not Knockout. Knockout has such a unique design in Prime, and it did not carry over there. RC's figure, not great. That mold is not really fantastic. I never bought it. I got Road Rocket because G2. I will buy G2, and I don't hate it. It's kind of a fun figure, but it's real fiddly, and I get why Prime fans didn't like it. It didn't feel right. It didn't look right. They gave them noses.
Yeah, which
is not okay.
Well, it's interesting that it started with those two, because there are so many other Transformers characters that the shift would have been so much more subtle, and they could have eased us into it. But the Prime character designs are so distinct, with their more sort of like angular forms and like thinner silhouettes in general, that like was just like part of that style. But like, you know, I like for my Knockout figure, I mostly keep him in car mode because it looks closer to that, and he's a better looking car than he is a robot. And I don't think he would mind me saying that. Like,
no.
He's a pretty sexy car there.
Yeah.
I actually
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I actually think that, to kind of answer your question there, Brendan, and I'll echo you, Scott, on this one too. I think that when after they released these figures, like the Bulkhead and the RC, and there was like fan backlash and fan pushback against it, they kind of realized that, okay, no, like, you know, if you're going to echo an older line or an older series, then you should echo the design aesthetic as well, because it's supposed to be legacy. It's supposed to be, you know, kind of celebrating the entirety of what Transformers is, and pull from Prime, pull from Animated, pull from anything you want, but be true to the source material. Don't try to change it for G1 fans.
And so you guys think it was the right call, what they did
to stop doing that,
to stop G1ifying all the different show characters as they were introducing them?
Yes, because then when we did get the animated ones, like animated Bumblebee looks cool. The animated Prime is pretty well done. The only one that kind of suffered was animated Prowl, because he's such a like a lithe, thin, very agile looking character in animated, and then they like squashed him, and he feels way bulkier and not nearly as stretched out, and it was a little awkward. But
Yeah.
I am also of the mindset, and we're going to talk about this a lot. I am so sick of everything being G1. I am tired of everything being G1. I get it. G1's important. I love G1. I mean, I grew up with that and loving the cartoon, but there is so much more to Transformers than G1. Not everything needs to be it. Prime is special because it's Prime.
Sure.
Don't make it G1. Animated is special because it's animated. Don't make it G1.
Yeah.
You know?
Beast Wars is special because it's Beast Wars.
Yeah. Well, that one also would have been tough because like you can make like the robots different, but the animal is the animal. Unless we're talking about transmetals. I think we might have gotten more transmetal characters, which would have been great because I love transmetals. If we did stick with that, because since the animals themselves, we mostly got them in Kingdom. And in that regard, they weren't trying to G1ify. I think because I think I agree with you guys that I think in the end it was the best call. I was quite interested at the notion of seeing these characters represented in a G1 style, that insofar as that like I could collect all these disparate characters and they would all feel like they belong in the same universe on my shelf. I was quite intrigued at the notion of that. I think what's also maybe a problem they ran into was that there's so much overlap, to your point, Scott, that it's G1 all the time through so many of those things. Like, which version of them do you decide to G1ify? Because the difference between animated Bumblebee and then, Prime Bumblebee, those are not the same character if you put them through the G1 filter. Same with Bulkhead. And then if you choose one, that means you don't get the other. At the end of the day, we didn't get like different, like I don't think we got a new Legacy Bulkhead that is more like animated. We only got like the Prime G1ified version. But I think they probably also realized there's not enough of these characters that we use to do this with all of them and not make people mad.
I'm going to push back against you for just a second here, Brandon.
Please.
You said that if they G1ified the figures, it would fit kind of better to the aesthetic of your overall, like the overall set, your overall collection.
Sure.
I actually don't think that's true. Like in terms of like a general body shape, okay, fine. But I think that in order to preserve the essence of the character, the heads of all these figures, even the G1ified versions of them, stayed very true to their source material. And because of that, they feel out of place when you compare them to something from Siege or Power of the Primes or something like that, because just like the head aesthetic feels very, very different, especially like the Bulkhead, for example. Bulkhead has this round kind of like jolly looking
that
face.
Big old crimson chin jaw, not quite Sentinel crimson chin from animated, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they exaggerated his proportions in the cartoon to kind of keep that to keep that aesthetic, and that's one of the things that you kind of learn in animation to, like, right from the start. You exaggerate the proportions of your characters so they stand out more. They kept that with the design of the head on these G1ified figures, and as a result, the heads look almost out of place to the rest of the body.
Sure, but we're splitting hairs there. Like,
hold on.
I would argue that. Okay, go ahead.
I was going to say, the argument I'm going to make is you can make that argument for Bulkhead, but Knockout, Prime RC, those figures, their heads look very little like their Prime counterparts. They G1ified them and like changed the aesthetic that they would fit in, I feel.
Yeah.
Bulkhead, you're right. Bulkhead's got that, like, Bulkhead, they did not change enough to make him a G1ified head. Body and alt mode, sure, but that jaw is so cartoony and doesn't fit in.
But it does.
But the rest of them,
it does hit that good middle ground, because if they changed it too much, then it wouldn't look like Bulkhead. So I do think it does sort of like
Right.
hit that middle ground where like, I have it right in front of me right now. Like there are differences. Like instead of being like fully round, he's got these like chamfered edges, that his jaw is a little bit more angular. His eyes, like he's got his like tiny nose. Like there's these like small details that do sort of elicit the more boxy look of the original like G1 designs while still being identifiably bulkhead. So like it's not like they just put a different sculpt head on a G1 sort of style body. But I will say that like something like you said, Knockout, I think works really well because they even use that design in the Transformers, the Renegade RPG book, in the core rule book in the back of Bad Guys. Knockout's there, and they used his legacy design with like with the front of his torso being like the front grill of the car, which I thought was really interesting. So but yeah, I think that it was an interesting pivot for me, sort of coming into this as an outsider, seeing that shift. So it's like a different perspective than you guys got. But we'll sort of talk about how it resolves as we move forward.
Yeah.
Kind of to continue the Iser discussion that we started with.
Oh yeah, that's where we begin.
So Hasbro did something kind of unusual with this line, and it introduced the Rock Armorizers, the Infernac universe figures, which are, I mean, they're just friggin' Rock Lords, really.
Yeah, they're Rock Lords.
Rock Lords / Inhumans, I think is what a lot of people said it was. It was like a combination of those two. Yeah.
So,
or Inhumanoids or whatever it's called. I don't know.
So while I love the whole Iser gimmick, like the whole break apart and put back together gimmick, I think I don't know, this part of it fell flat for me. Now, I will say that combine them with the fossilizers from Siege, and I think aesthetically it works really, really well. Having like the bone and the rocks together, yeah, really cool. Like I have no problem with that. But at least for me, the whole idea of these figures, okay, you're echoing like the Rock Lords. Just fucking make some Rock Lords then, right? I mean,
turn them into rocks.
Right. Like it feels like they were trying to kind of do an aesthetic, and they just stopped halfway and said, no, we need to make this a car. Hey, we have this really cool idea of like transforming rocks. Okay, that's cool. Like I'll agree. I don't want a ton of them because they're rocks. Like that. That's
there's a reason that franchise did not beat the Transformers.
Right. So having like 3 or 4 figures, okay, cool. Like I'm good with that. But then again, they just kind of stopped. It's like, all right, we're gonna do rocks, cars. Rocks, cars.
Scott is chomping at the bit here. I want to know what he's got to say here.
Because I kind of agree with you, but I don't. I think it was them working from the fossilizers and using that kind of thinking. Which the fossilizers were my least favorite part of the Siege trilogy. Isers, the fossilizers did not hit with me. In terms of the armorizers, the fact that they reused the one mold like 4 times kind of drove me nuts, the car one, because I think that was actually the weakest of all of them. But the armorizers, one of my favorite figures in Legacy United was one of them, and that was Shard, the helicopter.
Oh, that's a cool figure, actually.
I think that's just because it was such a cool looking figure and such a cool looking character. But also, it wasn't very rocky. It was more crystalline, and I kind of like that.
Sure. I mean, it was no Thrilling 30 Springer, but
thank God I actually enjoyed this one. No, I liked Shard a lot. The car, which I cannot remember his name, he was fine. I've got him. The motorcycle, the core class motorcycle one is fine. But they definitely were Boulder Crash. That was the motorcycle.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I think.
So only one I remember.
Yeah. Well, I had to think about Shard. I had to think about the name. I was like, what was the name of that helicopter? Because I really liked that one. But again, I think we didn't have Isers in Legacy. We didn't get anything until Legacy Evolution with the Junkion Isers. but I think like the
believe
Junkions were a smash hit.
Yeah.
And I mean I can't speak for the community, but in terms of Mike, I know you liked them. Brandon, you liked them. I loved them too. But here's the other reason I liked the Junkions, because it took something that was existing and made new characters for them.
That's what I was going to say.
And that is something I'm really tired of with Hasbro also. Where are the new characters? And I know that the Rock Armorizers were technically new characters, but something didn't feel right with most of them. Something was off, and I can't say what. Shard was a hit. Yeah, they were. Also, and we talked about this on a regular episode of Transmissions I was on. One of the designers for them released sketch work of other Rock Armorizers they were going to do, and there were some really cool looking designs that never made it. One of them was a jet that was like made of blue crystals, and it looked awesome. And it never came to be, and I'm really upset about that. But
I wonder if it just didn't perform up to like what they were expecting. But then again, I don't know what they were actually expecting. Like if they were trying to homage the Rock Lords, they didn't go all the way. So again, they kind of it ended up at this weird halfway point. It's like, I don't want a rock car.
So we can look at it this way. Siege, we had the weaponizers that were counterparts to most of the Titans and things. They were established characters turned into full-fledged figures, some of them for the first time ever. Right. In Earthrise, we got the Micromaster bases. And there were, 2 molds that got made into, 8 characters? And they were awesome! They were amazing. And they were referencing something that we knew, but it was different. The Fossilizers were the weakest ones. Why? They were new characters, but what were you doing with that? Skeletons?
My favorite parts of the Fossilizers are the Lumakin stop-motion animated videos on YouTube. He made those really cool. I was like, I'm not gonna buy these, but this is rad.
Yeah.
To the Armorizers point, like Mike said, I think if it's supposed, I think we can all sort of collectively say okay, this is Rock Lords. But like Mike said, they didn't go all the way with it. So it's sort of okay, we didn't collab with the Flintstones. So who's driving the Rock cars and the Rock vehicles? I don't know. I feel like there could have been something fun. I don't know. If we want to do Rock Lords, do a toy for kids and just have them turn into rocks.
Just do one though. We don't need a line of them because the Rock Lords are dumb. Nostalgia aside, they're really dumb. It turns into a blob of nothing.
Yeah.
And they could have done one, and that would have been fine. But I think for this, because it's not recognizable to most people as a Rock Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Even to a lot of Transformers fans, they're probably going to look at this and be like, what the hell is this? And you're going to look up the character and be like, I don't know who this is. But the Junkions, at least there's other Junkions who are established in the fiction, and now you're putting more into their ranks.
Yeah, and the fans love the lore. We're like, oh, new Junkions, awesome.
Right.
They're part of the Transformers.
It kind of goes back to when we had toy lines for TV shows, and you would get characters in the toy line who never showed up in the TV show.
Yeah. And
look at all the Beast Wars figures. You could fill your ranks with Cyber Sharks and Man Terrors, and but they never showed up in the show.
Yeah, Wolfang. Injustice.
I love
Manterror. Was that
the Mantis?
Was the praying mantis?
I think so. That might have been his name.
Manterror. I think he's the praying mantis one.
Yeah. Who is a really bad figure, but I love him.
Dude, the Wolfang figure is dog crap. It's so bad, but
I love that figure so much.
Bad.
I had it as a kid and I loved it. And I bought the reissue and he's in there because I love that figure.
I have the reissue and I love that character. I love wolves as a thing, and I wish he had been in the show, but he's bad. K9 is just an objectively better figure as an upgrade, but yeah, I love having my missiles fall out all the time and my right arm falling apart.
Funny story, Wolfang was the first Beast Wars figure I ever bought.
Wow. Iguanus was mine.
Oh,
nice.
Going back to the Pretenders.
Yeah, there we go.
What was your first Beast Wars figure, Brandon?
My very first, so my first Transformer was a Beast Wars figure, and it was Bone Crusher. The
bison,
the buffalo, the bison sort of guy, and I loved that figure. I thought that the you pull the tail to shoot the missile out of his mouth was
Mhm.
so cool. And that it was in the art on the packaging was so sick. And my twin brother got Canine, and I was so bummed he never found it. And then I recently found out that in Beast Wars 2nd, Bighorn was one of the primary characters, which is the Japanese red recolor of Bone Crusher. So I adore that show now, and have started watching that.
Bighorn's in there somewhere.
Nice.
He's right around here. He's right next to the taco tank from Beast Wars 2nd, because I also love Beast Wars 2nd.
Okay, let's talk. Let's switch this around a little bit here, and let's talk about the Stunticons.
Oh,
so this, yeah, Dr. Pants, you got Menasor there. All right,
I got drag strip
with the DNA upgrade kit, and I have a breakdown. I found a breakdown.
So I've been positive on most of the stuff that Legacy has come out with, and I'll be the first to admit I haven't bought a ton of stuff from Legacy, and I've kind of like wound down my collecting ever since Siege started, and that's just life, the universe, everything. So I'm a bit short version is I'm more selective about the figures that I buy. I have the Stunticons from Combiner Wars. It's like, okay, I'll echo what I said before. Combiners from that series are a little janky. Some are better than others.
But hold on, Menasor is the worst of them.
Menasor is one of the roughest. Yes, I'll agree. That being said, I cannot stand the new system for combiners now. I feel that it is a slavish, cartoon accurate version of combiners for just a ton extra money. It is not fun to collect them because you buy the center torso and all of a sudden you have the combiner,
right?
And yeah, and the aerial bots have been like have they already started showing up in stores?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
I've seen.
Shows you how behind I am.
Slingshot and one of the other ones are out, and Silverbolt's released now too.
I have no desire to get any of these combiners, and if they release, the Protectobots, Predacons, Combaticons,
they're releasing the Combaticons. Vortex is out already.
Oh yeah. I have zero interest. 100% zero interest in any of them for a couple of reasons. One, I already got the combiners in Combiner Wars. I'm not going to double dip. I'm just not. Okay? Sorry, Hasbro. I'm not going to buy another version of the same figure that I have, and that's already a second version of the same figure that I have.
Right.
So no. Not doing that. And two, at this point, like, okay, if you had asked me like 10 years, okay, so I started collecting, like I say in quotes, but I started collecting in earnest with Beast Wars. And I had no problem buying pretty much everything that was everything that was out. Same thing with RID 2001. I purchased the whole line. Armada, the whole Unicron trilogy, bought the whole line. And it wasn't until the 07 movie where I started being more selective about the things that I was going to get, simply because I didn't need 5 primes.
Sure.
That's fair. But this is and especially once once the Combiner War series came out and Titan's Return was out, Power of the Primes and all that, and into the War for Cybertron, they started releasing a whole bunch of figures. They're like, okay, cool. Like these are like the definitive versions that okay, I don't need to get any more. This is what this is what I'm gonna get. And then the next line, they got a new one. And the next line, another one. Ironhide is the biggest damned violator of this.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
In like
I got done
years,
pretty dirty by the Optimuses that kept re-releasing, but Ironhide is pretty bad for that.
Yeah. So at that point, I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna play this game anymore. Oh, that was the point I was gonna make. So I started collecting with Beast Wars, and when I started collecting, deluxes were $10. And if you said to me back then, yeah, prices are gonna go up, but it's just inflation, it's everything else. And I kind of said to myself, all right, $50 deluxes, right out. There's no way. I don't care. I'm not gonna buy a $50 deluxe. We're already at 25 to 30 for deluxes.
Yep.
Sorry, Hasbro, you're pricing me out of this here. Okay, I'm not going to I'm not going to drop 200. To Commanders are 100 right now.
90, I think. Still, they're 90 still. I don't think the Commanders have gone up yet.
But still, at 90, at 25 a piece for deluxes, that's $190 combiner.
It is. You're right.
I
Whereas back in Combiner Wars, it was $15 deluxes, so $60 to get the limbs, and then $25 for a torso. You were spending under $100 to get the full combiner.
And even then, it was still getting a little bit higher than what I was comfortable with.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, and I will say, because I got pretty much all the main combiners from Combiner Wars. I'm not replacing them, except for Menasor. That's the only one. And that is because I have a full Menasor set from Combiner Wars, and it is terrible. I cannot get the damn thing to stand up combined, and it looks awful. Okay. I am with you 100% on this whole, the Commander class figure has the whole skeleton and you clip the robots on. No. Other combiners, I cannot stand that. I give Menasor a pass because the Combiner Wars one is terrible. And also, I'm not big on cartoon accuracy, but I will say I think this is a good-looking combiner when it's all said and done. It's a good-looking figure. And also, Motormaster is the one figure, the one character...
Yep, I'll agree.
Where its skeleton is incorporated into part of its original form. The trailer becoming the skeleton made sense. I was okay with it. And I will say it was cool combining it for the first time where, Dead End and Drag Strip split in half when you put them on the arms. That's kind of cool. I'm not big on the other ones clipping on the backs of the legs where you can't see them, but I understand that that's cartoon accurate, whatever. It's a cool figure, and I'm okay with that. But now, the Silverbolt gets that huge chunk of whatever it is on his ass. That's stupid. And the fact that they had to add some to Devastator to get him to work? Combiner Wars Devastator is fine. He's great, and he's to scale. 86 movie screen accurate, my butt. He's too small.
Yeah.
I hate the skeleton thing. I think it's dumb. Yeah. I just gave it a pass on Menasor because they did Menasor dirty in Combiner Wars. That figure sucked. I have I've got Bruticus up there. I've got Superion. I've got Abominus. I've even got Piranacon up there. They're fine. They're fine. They don't need to be redone, and not for the price you're asking me for. Because that is ridiculous.
Brandon, so you didn't pick up any of the combiners from Combiner Wars. So
so that was before me.
Do you have any interest in picking up effectively $200 new combiners? I'm sure that we're already downplaying it here because of the price.
No,
you want nothing to do with it.
Because even as a relatively newer collector, I am 100% on the wagon of I already have this figure for this character that I love. If they come out with a new one, there has to be something about it that is substantively different to make me want to get a new version of it. Like if they made a group of Stunticons, let's say I had a Menasor, let's say I have Legacy Menasor, but they come out with a new one where the limb bots, they found a way to engineer them that they turn into the arms themselves and they don't just stick onto a skeleton. For me, as someone who loves the act of transforming a figure, that would be worth it. But because I remember I was excited at the notion. I got Drag Strip and I loved the engineering for this toy. As a robot, he was all just sort of it's a stack of mustard. That wasn't great, but I can always paint it my damn self if I want to. But the engineering was so cool I was really interested to see how the rest of the Stunticons were going to come out. And then I sort of waited. I wanted to see, like, let's see how this goes, and then I'll pick them all up. And then they showed Motor Master with the skeleton thing, and they were sort of displaying how it was going to work. I was like, that's not what I want. I don't want to just like have a thing and I just stick them on, because for me, transformation is a big part of it. I love the third toy puzzle aspect of a figure. So I love combiners. I don't have a combiner yet. And I would want to get one. Menasor was going to be the first one that I was going to build, but I really wasn't down for the way that Motor Master was going to, like Scott said, it works well to have the trailer be part of the skeleton. Like, I don't mind that, but for me, I needed the vehicles that make up his limbs to do more than just stick onto like his arms. That was just sort of like a next time. I'll get it next time if they do it. Which is what I love about the Junkions as weaponizer combiners. Like, I see them as a combiner for me, because that's how I use them. To make like big robots. I want to build, now that I'm fully moved, I want to build Junkosaurus or Thrashosaurus or whatever he's called, which is the fan made combiner that he becomes. But it is a shame that, because Scott, you mentioned like show accuracy and like how that's become the thing for legacy toys, is that we're gonna make these toys as accurate to show as possible, and I think that that's a red herring. Like, I get where that desire comes from, but I'll let you guys speak to it. But like, I do think that playability is something that we've been lacking, and part of that is a trend that we can get into the weeds on this, that like due to like the demographics of what Hasbro is seeing in terms of like who's buying these figures. But like, if things are getting so expensive because we're spending so much money on engineering to make these things as accurate in both their alt mode and bot mode, then the solution could be is that we simplify transformations, like what they did with Armada, where they're like, our transformations are getting too complex. Let's make them simplified so that kids can play with them. And if we're simplifying the transformations, then let's add play features and have these be for kids, because even the kids' toys now that aren't like Studio Series or Legacy or now Age of Primes, they don't play. They just transform, which I love. But, I do think it's interesting how like the obsession of show accuracy, I do think has maybe dampened the fun of Transformers. And even as someone who's coming into the game late on collecting, I don't want to put it all on Legacy's shoulders, but that's sort of been something I've observed as someone who's relatively new to the hobby. But I'm curious your guys' perspective on this.
I'll go real quick on it, because I just have like one thought. So I actually agree with that idea. And I think they did that with the Combiner Wars, because the limbs and the torsos for Combiner Wars were very toyetic, very playable. The overall design suffered, like the overall Combiner form suffered a bit because of it. And even the individual figures, but overall, I thought they were far more playable in terms of their figures.
And I 100% agree with you, and I appreciate that. In fact, I think the last really great toy line that Transformers has had, the last really good one, was Power of the Primes. And that's because since Siege, they have been trying, and we've seen it start to happen, where they are trying to make these characters as close to the cartoon accuracy as possible. Now, Siege, not much, but Earthrise, we saw it. Look at some of those Earthrise figures. They were really trying to make it cartoon accurate, and it's losing its playability. And I feel what they're doing to Transformers is trying to turn it into a Marvel Legends, a Star Wars Black Series. You're trying to get figures of the characters you can put on your shelf and be like, that character is there, and the transformation is secondary, and the playability is secondary. And I think we can see it a lot right now, because Age of the Primes, I've gotten 2 of the figures, and the robot modes look pretty good, but I hate them. I hate them as Transformers, because the transformation doesn't feel good. The plastic doesn't even feel good to transform it. It doesn't have that chunky feel that they used to have. And in terms of the combiners, I know why they're doing the skeletons for all the combiners. It's so they can retain the Scramble City mechanic, because now when Superion's done, you can clip off Superion's leg and put it on Menasor whole skeleton piece. It was the problem with making Menasor a skeleton. I'm glad they did it for Menasor because they needed to do it, but I hate what it's leading to. And on the cartoon accurate part of this, if we start talking about my favorite figures from Legacy, almost all of them do not look like their cartoon counterparts.
Interesting.
They were figures that specifically do not look like their cartoon counterparts because I feel like they put a lot of fun into them and they were interesting figures.
Yeah. And I can see the counter argument, like when we talk about play features, like for those of us, like for me who started with like Beast Wars where they were like full of gimmicks and stuff like that, like I love that. But I could see the counter argument that like back in like the 80s, like the toys just transformed and kids loved playing with them. Like that you don't necessarily need those. Like I can see that, but I think that like the play features just add something to them. And like you said, like with the plastic, like when I pick up like one of my vintage Beast Wars figures, it feels so good in hand. It's so like chunky and it has like a good weight to it, where like sometimes like a Legacy figure, it feels so flimsy and just like thin. And like I like and part of this is because like I think they are designing them for adult collectors to be display pieces. They're not meant to be played with and handled, so they don't have to be as sturdy as like older toys that were being, you know, like thrown about by children, and that sort of thing.
But for adult collectors, that's what Masterpiece is supposed to be for. That's not what this toy line should be. And I do want to point out one thing you mentioned about, well, you know, back in the 80s, our Transformers just transformed. Only the first year, I think. After that, they started releasing figures that had weird play features. I mean, we had like the flip changers like Twin Twist and Top Spin and Run Amok and Runabout. We had combiners, we had headmasters, we had power masters, we had target masters. We had all these things going on. It was only that first year. But now we've had years of just figures that transform. And that's it. And it's boring.
Yeah.
Because say what you will about the Unicron trilogy, some of those figures are some of the coolest that I have ever messed with, and I miss that stuff.
That's a great topic that I this may not be on your sheet, Michael, and I'm sorry to like sort of like take over here for a second, because the Armada figures that were in the Legacy line, I think suffered from this like sort of like thing the most. And I think it's the thing that a lot of people talked about, because those toys were fun. And I think that the fact that like not only did they miss like spring-loaded projectiles or like any sort of like lights and sounds that they might have had, the fact that they didn't even come with their mini cons that you could at least just attach to them to recreate that sense was such a missed opportunity, even as a core class line in Legacy, like to like go alongside them, like would have been so great. And I do think it is sort of something that was missing, that felt, because like some of these toys like didn't have play features, so you don't mind it when they're missing them in the Legacy. But for like Armada, like Starscream, like before, like you plugged in Swindle and his cannons came forward and you unlock that ability. Like Optimus, I forget the name of his mini con.
Sparkplug.
No, that was that was Optimus, and then Megatron's was
Leader One.
Leader One. Like plugging those in and getting like the side cannon or what have you, like they were all just like so cool. And then now they're just sort of like, I don't know, those designs were sort of like made simple to make room for play features, and now we have simpler designs that are still, and those figures weren't necessarily show inaccurate. Like they were doing a good job of like animating the characters in a way that they weren't so far from their toy designs.
But they need knees. We need knees and elbows.
Every Johnny Hasbro sitting in his office is like, all these toy reviewers are talking about articulation and posing. If we don't give them a waist swivel, they're gonna burn my house down. It's just like I get it. Like it makes sense, like that people love these because a lot of us don't have time to play with these toys, so we do have them on display. So posing is good, but like. And I don't know what the solve is. Like you downgrade them, make them for kids, and add play features, but like adults still want to touch them.
Here's how you fix it. Stop living in the past and do something new. Stop reliving the past. Yes, we all love these toys, but every character we've been getting, aside from the Junkions, the Armorizers, is a character who has a toy that exists. And I'm going to throw it out there that not all the Legacy figures were an upgrade. Sideburn from RID 2001 in the Legacy Evolution line is a crap figure. The original one's better. You didn't update it at all. And the Armada figures, not an upgrade because you lost a lot of the cool features.
Yeah.
Beast Wars, In Kingdom, most of them not good.
Yeah, some of them are
Just-
we got like Tarantulas in Legacy, like for some of the ones that were like really different, but like you said, um they're fine, but
They're fine.
I would never take one over one of the originals. I guess is
Yeah.
like for me, and maybe that's nostalgia. And I guess to play devil's advocate, as someone who is agreeing with Scott on this, as someone who was getting into Transformers collecting, the Legacy line allowed me to get access to characters that would otherwise have been really pricey to find vintage figures of, by basically let's re-release everything with figures that look accurate. So I felt like I had access to all these characters that I otherwise would have had to dug through like eBay or like other third-hand retailers. So like if their goal was to like bring in new fans to collecting, I think it succeeded in that regard, because I felt like it was quite easy for me to get all these characters that like I was like worried about, like, oh, I don't have a Bumblebee, or I don't have this, that, the other thing. And it was like super fast and super easy for me to get, because they released them. And I was like, wow, that looks really cool. It looks accurate. And now that I've collected more, now I have like a sense for like what I would like to see in future releases. But that's me playing devil's advocate. I overall fully agree with Scott on and Mike on these.
I agree with you on some levels, but the characters I'm glad Legacy released that I didn't want to have to pay eBay prices for, characters that didn't come out in the United States, like Metal Hawk.
Yeah. You want the things that you don't already have.
Right, exactly. Like, we got a major retail release of Metal Hawk, twice in Legacy, by the way, where they gave him a slightly darker paint color.
Ooh.
Or, another one of my favorite characters who never got, like, a real good version, Leo Prime or Nemesis Leo Prime.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Legacy shined with that, giving us, again, Dino King. Characters who didn't show up in the US, that we never got their figures for.
Or the obscure G2 stuff.
Yeah, or the obscure G2 stuff. Like, stuff that didn't come out. But, like, re-releasing the same characters over and over again, like, come on. Please stop.
I think this is a good segue then for us to talk about our standout figures from this line.
Yeah, I mean, Scott, you've already sort of started this here. Do you want to, finish up this? Finish up this topic.
I got a few more. I am going to show off one G1 style figure just because I really like it. One of my favorite things from G1 is Triple Changers. Legacy Evolution Sandstorm.
Oh,
he's cool as hell.
So
Oh, he's so cool. I love this figure. He is so much fun and very G1 accurate to like the alt modes, but the transformation feels really good.
Yeah.
And I'll throw this
because he's getting Age of Prime's figure, right? Or he already has.
It's a 2-pack with Slug Slinger, and the only thing they're changing is his face. They're giving him an animation accurate face.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
I have the original version of this, but this is a lateral move, I will say, for certain reasons. This is Cybertron Starscream. And I say it's lateral because he doesn't have the cool gimmicks, but in terms of an action figure, like a representation of the character and just fun to mess with, he feels more fun to mess with. He is very cool looking, and I appreciate the posability and everything on this. This was a cool upgrade to this figure. Lost the gimmicks, but again, lateral move. I like him for different reasons. I'm going to keep them both. Oh, you know what? Here's another one I have the original version of too, and I got it for about the same price as this, but you cannot deny the beauty of Transmetal 2 Megatron from Legacy.
Yeah.
Because that is a beautiful figure.
It is a really, really beautiful figure, and the engineering is fascinating with it. It's such a cool toy to transform, and it's one of the few Beast Wars figures I will keep in Beast mode because he just looks so damn cool.
Yeah.
So damn cool. And the last one, and this is one that I don't even know if they really upgraded at all or if it was just called, we're going to re-release it. Magmatron.
Yeah.
The Commander class Magmatron, like it's not that different from the original. They upgraded a few bits and pieces, but like another figure that we got it in the States, but it was hard to come by, and like major character from a Japanese only cartoon, and he gets a full Commander class figure. Hell yeah. Plus it's 3 dinosaurs that make one robot. How cool is that?
Yeah, it looks pretty cool, especially when you compare it to its original. Like, like the play features that are lost are like, if you want show accurate, like, and he still has like the sword and everything. Like, that is a really cool figure.
I actually don't know if they lost any play features with this.
Yeah, was there not really anything like major like for play features in
Well,
the original?
I don't believe so, except maybe there might have been like some there might have been something with the plesiosaur that they cut out, but he does have a third mode where they all combine into like a giant
Like a big
dinosaur
chimera dragon
chimera,
thing.
and he can still do that. So I don't think anything's
Ridiculous.
lost on this one.
Sure,
Where
the combiner triple changer combos was sort of the play feature really.
Yeah. This lost play features because the Beast Wars Transmetal 2 Megatron doesn't have any firing missiles. He doesn't have the weird car mode. Like, it lost play features. I think, again, lateral move. It's a beautiful looking figure. It's a really fun transformation, but it doesn't have all the cool features of the original. So, lateral move. But standout figures for me. And honestly, that might be it. I got a bunch of other Legacy figures, but I mentioned it before. I'm tired of them revisiting the past on all this, and I kind of miss some stuff. Like, I want to see some new stuff. I don't want to see the same old stuff over
and that's
and
across
over
the
and over
board for
again.
Transformers. I think we can agree. Like, Legacy shouldn't bear the burden of all of that. I think that is definitely a franchise thing that we're seeing.
And also, it's called Legacy.
Brendan.
I get what they were doing.
Yeah, sure.
Brandon, your standout figures are from Legacy.
Yeah, so yeah, there's quite a few. I would say if I was to pick, it's tough. The Junkions are really great, but that's 3 whole figures, if we're not including the recolors. So I would say like some of my standouts are Bulkhead. We already talked about this a lot. I think this, like, as someone who is a fan of adaptations, I thought this was really clever. I thought it did a cool job of taking one of my favorite characters from a show that I loved and G1ifying him. I thought that was really neat. Another standout for me is Blitzwing. He was my first triple changer. I think he looks really cool in his robot mode. His jet mode is not great. But the tank mode, I actually I like a lot. The barrel's a little like spindly, and the jet mode suffers from just having all of the junk under its trunk. But I like this figure quite a lot. And as my first like triple changer, like this was like the first time with like collecting these figures that I was really fiddling a lot with the transformation. And because I didn't have a lot of experience with complex ones, and for a triple changer, I was like, what the heck? I was just like constantly looking at the instructions. So this one, and part of that is just like because of my experience with him.
He's really cool. I like that figure too.
I was quite pleased with him. And then the other one I would say, and this one I like, but I do have mixed feelings about it. It is part of the Legacy line, but it's part of the Buzzworthy Bumblebee collection, is Dinobot. From the Buzzworthy Bumblebee collection, which was a recolor retool of the Kingdom Dinobot, but they gave him the more toy accurate head without the mouth.
And made him very pink.
Very pink. Well, he's technically closer to his original toy colors, which is this weird flesh thing. But he also looks like a man in an orange Speedo on my shelf sometimes. So I have to turn him into a dinosaur so I feel less uncomfortable. And the coloring is definitely weird. But like, I do like this figure. I love Dinobot, and the plastic has yellowed in a strange way, but I'm just like glad to have had some Beast Wars representation in Legacy, even it was sort of middling. So I have conflicting feelings about this figure, but overall, I like it.
Have that figure. Agree with you 100%.
Yeah,
I have mixed feelings, but
I just look at him like, I feel uncomfortable. Let's turn you back into a dinosaur really quick. It's a little bit better.
Speedo and leg warmers.
Yeah. And 1 and 2 and 1 and 2.
My picks. I'm gonna echo you, Dr. Pants, on the Sandstorm. I unfortunately don't have the figures in front of me to be able to show off. Most of them are still in storage, sadly. But the Sandstorm figure, I will 100% agree. It is one of the best leader figures that I've ever picked up, and solid in pretty much all the modes. The helicopter mode, you can see like the tires under the helicopter mode, and I think the was it like the Dune Buggy mode is probably the weakest, but still solid figure though.
I like that the back of it turns into a cage that the helicopter can carry, if I'm remembering it correctly. I think that's cool.
My second pick, I am going to actually say Trashmaster is one of my one of the standouts. Not just for the figure itself, which looks cool, but for what it represents, more of the whole kind of representational thing of the Izer kind of gimmick, the kind of Lego gimmick on Transformers. I really love that, and the fact that they made a Voyager sized version of one lends a lot of different things you can do now in terms of playing around with its shape, its form. Yeah, it adds so much to the whole Izer gimmick just a bit just on its own, because that was suffering a little, because when you try to do like customized like weaponizers, all of the figures are roughly the same size, so it always looks like it's kind of like a little spindly.
Sure.
So with a Voyager figure, it really does, like, it feels a lot better to have that in there.
And a Voyager for a character that didn't exist before, which is a rare treat.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And the last one I am going to pick up, because actually I picked up this one at this point, is the Tarn figure they made. The Tarn Voyager figure.
I actually realized when you were talking about your figures, I'm like, oh crap, I forgot about Bludgeon. Which was the repaint of Tarn.
Yeah.
And he's a pretender, and I forgot.
There's someone who was screaming earlier in the episode about that you forgot him, and they're not listening anymore, and so they're screaming into the void.
I loved the IDW comics. I loved the ones with the DJD in it. I will say that Tarn, is a little thin, a little narrow for Voyager figures, but he still has an incredible shelf presence. He still looks really, really good. I love this as a figure. Articulation is great. It is almost as solid as the Thrilling 30 Springer, at least in terms of design.
Why would you insult Tarn like that?
Got him.
My God.
Yeah.
I agree with
that figure.
I was gonna say I agree with you. I just have the Bludgeon version because again I like Pretenders and like that era, but it is basically the same figure with a sword.
Yeah, and a skull head.
And a skull head, yes. The transformation on that figure is fun and weird. I love how all of it unfolds. It's really cool.
I guess I'll say one honorable mention is the Laser Prime, like the Laser Rod Prime.
Yeah. It is cool. I got Scourge, the Velocitron version of RID 2001 Scourge. Mostly because I'm sick of primes, but
that's fair. I'm not going to sing its praises too much because I have I think 2 or 3 versions of a G2 Laser Prime at this point, but I think that this one has done it the best. I don't need another Laser Prime in my life at all. This is the definitive version, and you know what? I'm happy with it. It's solid.
And I'm curious to see in the comments for this, what people's other, because I imagine, for us, we have an interesting range of opinions on this line, I think. So I'll be really curious for people who comment to see, what they thought of the line, but then also their favorite figures or least favorite figures, because there is a great variety. We can say that at least that, the Legacy line went on for a while and provided, a good variety of characters across different media. And some of them are good and some of them are bad, but I'm really curious to see what other people are really like about these, because there's so many sublines in here as well. We didn't even touch on Speedia.
All right, thank you for joining me, gentlemen, for this extra special B++ team extravaganza. Brendan, anything you would like to plug or talk about, or just wax poetic for a minute?
I'm not really on other social media platforms for the moment, but I'll steal Michael's plug and I will plug Empire of Rust, where I feature sometimes as some additional voices, which is a whole lot of fun. If you guys love Transformers and love RPGs, you can't lose. So check out Empire of Rust on the Transmissions Podcast Network.
Excellent. Scott, how about yourself?
You can find me and all my friends doing the Nerdstradamus thing at the link tree right below my name if you're watching this on YouTube, or it's in the show notes if you're listening to this. Our main outlet is the YouTube channel, but we are on all social media, including like TikTok and Blue Ski or Blue Sky, whatever you want to call it, and all that good stuff. So please check us out. We do have some Transformers related content, and if you want to find a place where you can yell at me specifically on my views on Thrilling 30 Springer, you can find me there.
Going to Nerdstradamus now. Excellent. Thank you again. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. And if you are watching this, please give Empire of Rust a try. It is going to be wrapping up soon. Soon in relative terms, but end is in sight, and we have over 140 episodes along with a whole bunch of bonus content that you can partake in, including, again, Brandon's excellent voice work. And the one-shot, the Hate Plague one-shot that Brandon and Scott and Matt from Empire of Rust and I all did. Again, thank you, gentlemen, and we will see you at some point in the future.
See you, everyone.
Later.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Transmissions. If you'd like to join the conversation, travel to our Discord channel at transmissionspodcast.com/Discord. Want some cool transmission swag? Feast your eyes on our transmissions gear at transmissionspodcast.com/shop. If you'd like to support our podcast, go to transmissionspodcast.com/support or tell your friends about our show. We'll see you next time.